Of course, I'm sad, but it is what it is.
I want even par to be a good score for MPO. I think it's harder than WR. I think it's a lot more difficult course.
And I believe I have 6 major titles, I think, yeah.
I'm so excited. I've been thinking about this tournament for a month now.
Everybody wants to win the majors. At the end of the day, those are the ones that count.
This injury, past injuries, and just the lightning and all that. The only pain I get is just a sore back from throwing because it's been so long, which you hear about Eagles struggling with, you hear about Simon even, these players that have taken these long breaks. It's really a toll on your back and the twisting more so than anything than the shoulder itself. If you watch the coverage from last week, you'll see like my arm slot starts to slip down, dip down. That's kind of where the fatigue is. So if I can keep that in place the whole way through, I'm going to have total control over my shots. I'm not one of these people that throw from the lower part of my stomach and have those power shots like Ezra's one that really comes to mind. I have it a little bit more up in my throwing style, and I feel like I'm hitting that spot consistently now, and that's really what's getting my turnovers. Versus trying to flip it over with my wrist and speed, I'm able to get my arm up there, get my core open, and get the shots shaped. So I think that's a big benefit to me now, and something I'm doing, shot after shot versus, once in a great while. But yeah, I think more so the back 9 of the final round, you can really see the arm starting to dip down, throw these weird hyzers. That's been my struggle, and I feel like I really dialed that in.
A lot of injuries have been coming about, and I just do some stretching, and then I ice my arm, and then I try to limit the sidearms during practice rounds because those can get pretty brutal out here throwing sidearms as hard as you can. I'm pretty healthy, and then I go to the gym, so I feel like I shouldn't get injured. I don't throw too hard during practice rounds anyway. And realistically, there's like probably 3 or 4 shots you're throwing as hard as you can every week. So I think if you just take care of your body, you shouldn't really be getting hurt unless it's like a complete accident or a slip.
If you're not taking care of your body, if you're not in the gym eating well and trying to do your best to take care of yourself, then I think, there's going to be a good amount of injuries until people take their health as seriously as they should. I think one of the most beautiful parts about this course is how it scores. It's just so different than every other course that we play on the road, and the fact that you can pitch out and get your par and feel good about it, it's pretty rare. I mean, if you're not getting birdies, you're falling behind. And I think out here, if you're getting pars, then you're staying where you are. I think that's such a cool part about this course.
It's playing my favorite course in the world. I mean, I've always loved Northwood Black, and then they added some old holes that I loved, and then they took out some of the holes I didn't like so much, and it just gets better every year I come out here.
It's a different course than Jackson. Jackson has a lot of turnover lines, a lot of smooth anhyzer backhand shots. And this one, you're throwing more hyzer flips and more just dead straight. I think it's harder than WR. I think it's a lot more difficult course. The new holes, I still got to iron out a little bit of the tricky spots there, but feeling confident about it.
I really love that course over there. Of course, I'm sad, but it is what it is. And this time we're playing this course, and it's totally fine. It's a different course than the WR Jackson. I feel like over there we had some more room to navigate, and the fairways were a little bit wider. Here it's still wooded, but it's different. It's a lot harder, I feel like, especially if it's rainy and windy and cold. So we'll see what happens, but I'm excited.
It's the hardest course I've ever played. I would say it's the hardest course in the world. It's very intimidating going into a major on this course. There are birdie opportunities out here. Tricky part is just limiting the bogey strokes, because you're going to take bogeys and you kind of have to choose when and where to take them rather than just kind of cruising through the round. My game plan going into this week is I have certain holes that I'm just playing for par. And so I'm throwing, instead of throwing a fairway or a driver, I'm throwing a mid. Just keep it in the fairway and avoid the high numbers.
Front 9 is definitely slower disc than the back 9. Front 9, you can work putters out there off the tee, you can work fairway drivers. Back 9, you're throwing backhand and forehand power distance drivers through the woods, and that's what Northwood Blacks is. The front 9's a little bit more of a hybrid. You'll see the teeth pop up on the back.
I'm really sad the course is kind of split up for this year, moving Champions Cup over here, but at the end of the day, now I got a major on one of the courses I'm most confident on. Course management out here is pretty simple for me, just throwing a lot of mids and fairways up these. I'd say if you're throwing slower discs, pretty wide fairways in the woods.
It's neat to have the park golf back with the wooded golf. I've heard a lot of players say that it's a good mix of more open holes and then the tight wooded holes.
A wooded course, which is always full of surprises. I feel like you have to be ready for everything, and there's no guarantees when playing in the woods. Trying to be mentally ready, and I know I have the skills, so just try to give my best.
It's just kind of accepting that that's just part of it. When you're out here, you're going to get bad breaks. You're going to throw bad shots that get good breaks. You're going to throw good shots that get bad breaks. There's going to be a crazy mix. You don't know when it's going to happen, but also momentum can shift at any moment as long as you kind of keep a positive headspace and just keep playing.
Beth at 69.
I just told myself, you got to will this one in there. Whatever you have, just will it in there.
This man is unbelievable. This is what athletes live for. This is the moment.
10 is, it's not the one I regret, but it's the one that I wanted to do something else with, but I couldn't. With this event, it was scheduled in June, and I had the tee-pad right behind me here. Same tee-pad we used in 2019 Pro Worlds. Because of the time of the year, the regular short MPO pad is not available. It's just too swampy there, and so we took the first available spot for a tee-pad. The idea was that hole is going to be really, really hard to birdie. Par is not unachievable. I mean, par is actually easier than you would think, but birdie is very hard. But hole 12 will still play as the hardest, I would say, by far.
No, you can't call it a par 6. I think it's one of the best par 5s in the world. I think it's the hardest hole in the world. It's such a good hole. Like, you have to throw 3 perfect shots, and then you maybe have to make a 30-footer. It plays hard, and it plays very, very tough, and a lot of times you're happy with the bogey, but I think it's one of the best par 5s I've ever played.
I think the course is broken in after the last couple of years, and you're going to see a good amount of 4s on it this year. Everybody wants to win the majors. At the end of the day, those are the ones that count. You got to treat it like every other event you play all year, and if you happen to take one down, then heck yeah.
Everybody puts in a little more work once majors roll around. They're the ones that really matter in our sport. You're looking at the careers of, McBeth and Wysocki and, people like that, where they've won countless DGPT events, and you don't even know how many they've won, really, unless you look it up. But you know how many majors they win, out of the top of your head. These are the ones that matter. These are the ones that kind of define a career. And so, yeah, I'm putting more work in on these weeks than usual.
There's a lot of players who want to add a major title, and we're here to do that, all of us. For me to say no here, it would be wrong. So yes, I'm of course looking for another win. I'm just out here giving my best, and that's all I can do. The rest is out of my hands.
I don't think the pressure is different than like any other tournament. I mean, I'm playing pretty hot right now, so just need to trust my stuff. I try not to have any expectations at all going into a tournament, because that in the past has really hurt me. So I'm just gonna go out there and compete. Last week was pretty brutal. I was just in bed for like 2 days in a row. I couldn't even practice the course. Wasn't feeling too great the first couple days, but then the last day I started to feel well and put together a decent round, climbed back up into the top 10. I needed to form some kind of momentum, and then that final round, it just felt easy. I had 2 stupid mistakes on the last 2 holes, costing me top 5. But other than that, throwing the disc ball, I was making some huge putts, starting to dial in those 60, 70 footers, which was something I was missing recently. But yeah, momentum's definitely carrying.
It's not necessary. I feel like you can turn the focus on and off. You have the power to do that. You don't have to prepare, sweating and prepare and visualize. You just come to the course and accept what's ahead of you and just focus at the right time, and everything will unfold the way it should. I visualize the shot. I know what I should be doing. I know I have the skill set, and then it's just me trusting my abilities, because I know I can do it. And if I'm confident, I know I can execute. And if I have a lot of fear or doubts in my mind, probably there's going to be some errors.
I've known with my game, it's just gonna, it's gonna click sooner or later. And last week things finally came together, and I put together a good performance. But I've known, I've been confident with this, and knowing these things are going to finally come into place. So good to put a performance together like that. Feel like my putt was pretty solid. I missed a lot in the circle, missed a lot of opportunities to make a run at Simon, but throwing the disc is what's really been the struggle. And I finally feel like the disc doesn't feel foreign in my hands. I feel like I have total control over it, backhand, forehand. It's actually a blessing that the weather's been so poor, because it's actually kept me off the course and overdoing it. So gotten pretty solid practice in. I'm going to come back later, play the front 9 one more time, and then it's go time.
My game also feels a little bit different. I did a lot of form changes throughout the offseason, and so my releases and the way the disc's coming out of my hand is a little bit different than what last year was. But I think the disc is still flying pretty much relatively the same, and I'll be throwing it on every hole I threw it on last year, maybe even more. I think it my game is really built for the golfer, not like the crazy shredder. I mean, yeah, I can put together some really hot rounds, but I'm definitely looking for consistency this year. And I haven't been at the top of the leaderboard much this year, but I definitely feel like my game is definitely upped in the consistency levels.
It's not about waiting for the ideal conditions to perform well. It's about accepting what you have and making the best out of it. Even though I feel like it was a tough beginning of the season, although I've had great results, but still I was battling some internal things, and just like facing them and accepting them and focusing on just me and my performance, it has helped me a lot. And yeah, just being conscious and aware of what's going on inside of me.
For me right now, it's still trying to grow in myself, grow in my game, grow in the experiences. And at the end of the day, that's just something I'm trying to gain week in and week out, is more experience and figuring out how to get more comfortable in those really high pressure situations. I am still well young into my long career. And so right now, my ladder, I'm not trying to climb too high quite yet, but letting the experiences come my way and take those as they come.
I put Northwood up there in the top 20 in the world, so we're always able to get it ready in August. Getting it ready in the spring is a little bit of a different beast. We started trimming a month ago and it was done, and then we did it again, and then we did it again, and then we did it again last night and this morning, getting the weeds down. And so it's just different in the summer. We do it once and it's good. Here, the rain and the time of the year just makes it more challenging, but we've been able to get it ready and it looks beautiful.